Let's do the countdown. Let's make it happen. What is happening? Restoration Nation, what's up? Rebel Nation, McCabe here. I am fully caffeinated today. One of those days, 12 cups wasn't quite doing it, and I got some shit to do tonight. So we're going to get to it. Before we get too far down the road, we're going to have Kevin Dooley on the show, hopefully here once he gets back to his house, gets the kids settled in. He'll be joining us. Tomorrow we're going to have Mr. Philip Rosebrook on a special edition of the Restoration Rebel Roundtable. Going to do 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Going to have Philip on talking about the Rebuild Conference in San Antonio. I thought it was Austin. That's going to be a good show. Hopefully I can make it. I am not sure now. This show today is brought to you by Claims Delegates. If you're a fan of super detailed Xactimate estimates in a timely fashion, defended by veterans of the restoration and insurance repair industry, Claims Delegates is your people. We got you. We would dedicate a specific experienced estimator to your account, and you got one point of contact through the whole process, soup to nuts. We write great sheets. That's just what we do. We write great sheets. That's all we do for you. So you got better things to do. You got bossing to do. You're a boss. You go do boss things. We'll handle the estimates. We'll handle the back and forth with you stupid adjusters, right? We'll do that for you so you can do better things. All right. That was awesome. That was the first time I've ever advertised for my company on this show. It won't be the last. But if we get a sponsor that pays more money than I do, we will have a different sponsor. Let's get into it, shall we? These are the Rebel Agreements. Agreement number 1, I will protect the value of my services. Offering free services only serves to erode the value of similar services industry-wide. Agreement number 2, I will practice incredible transparency. I will explain the claim process to my client. I will not hide pricing details or falsify reports. I just got a bing in my ear. It sounded like a messenger. It probably was. Agreement number 3, I do not believe in competition. The restoration companies in my market are part of my community. I will be an active member of my community. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. And yes, Mr. Spears, we are roundtabling. Let me get my messenger up. Well, you wouldn't ask that question unless you weren't in the group watching my beautiful intro here. Here, Joe Spears. Here's your link, especially for you. All right, agreement number 4, I am willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that's not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth losing money, sleep, or my humanity. That never gets old. It really, really never gets old. Those are the founding principles of the Restoration Rebel Group, this group, and I think they should be the founding principles of our entire industry. You can't go wrong with more transparency. More transparency never created bad things, right? Yeah, unless you're Edward Snowden and you can't come back in the country for the rest of your natural life. But hey, he exposed some really ugly truths, and he was punished for it. But that was our country not being transparent. Okay, I would argue that transparency is always Always a good thing. Mr. Joseph Spears, welcome to the show. What's up, man?
What's
How the
up,
hell you
buddy?
been?
Good, man. How have you been?
I'm good, man. I'm glad you got the blue shirt memo today. I like that.
It's Team Spears here, don't you know?
Oh, I like it. I like it. Hey, Kevin Dooley, hopefully will come on here shortly, but he put up a couple and he's gone. Bye, Joe. Bye. See ya. He put up a couple very poignant posts on LinkedIn over the last week or so, and I combined them because I loved them so much, and I had ChatGPT combine them for me, really. But I think this is what I see as either the next phase of the industry, or we're dead, right? Or we're dead. Joe, what happened, man? Lost you.
Oh, my computer. I did a restart on it a couple days ago, and so like StreamYard here wasn't logged in and all that stuff. So just going through the cycles of annoying me.
Yeah, happens. I just did a whole complete reinstall of my Windows operating system.
Oh yeah, you got to do it every now and then.
You got to do it. It's just they haven't developed a self-pruning, self-cleaning operating system. It just gets bloated, and you got to start from scratch every now and then.
Oh yeah. But I feel
Okay,
like
so
last few of these here, man. So I figured I better
yeah,
jump
man.
in.
Welcome to the party.
Oh yeah.
I rewrote an article that Kevin Dooley wrote. When he came up with this, he didn't come up with this. He used the phrase synergistic decline, the idea of synergistic decline. So I'm gonna read this thing, and then we can talk about it, and then see if Kevin ever joins us. All right. Synergistic decline. Let me bring this over here so I'm not looking over my shoulder. Refers to a process where the combined actions of multiple parties unintentionally drive the degradation or devaluation of a particular system, industry, or environment. In many cases, none of the individual parties sets out with the intention of causing harm. However, when their actions are viewed collectively, they create a downward spiral that exacerbates existing problems or introduces new ones. Or, in the context of insurance and restoration industries, this term describes how both insurers and contractors contribute to a cycle of declining standards, weakened trust, and reduced profitability. Kevin went on to talk about how the fragile state of the property restoration industry. The restoration industry is facing an unprecedented period of instability, with numerous internal and external pressures pushing it toward a fragile and risky state. As businesses struggle to meet rising costs, shrinking margins, and increased demands from insurers and third-party administrators, the restoration industry is at risk of falling into what I call a synergistic decline. This concept describes how the actions of multiple stakeholders, each with their own agendas, can unintentionally accelerate the degradation of an entire industry. That's a repeat. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay, profit over people. This has been the case for a long time, but it's really getting bad. I had a client that told me today he is not going to take any further State Farm claims. Once he finds out there's State Farm, he's just going to say no. He's going to walk. That says more about State Farm than it does about his business, right? One of the clearest signs of synergistic decline is the prioritization of profits over the well-being of workers and customers. Restoration companies, squeezed by tight margins and high overhead costs, often cut corners or rely on lower-paid, less skilled labor to meet financial goals. Of course we do. This race to the bottom not only compromises service quality, but also diminishes the reputation of the entire industry. As more companies follow this path, the value of restoration work becomes diluted, and skilled laborers move on to other fields where their expertise is better valued. Can't argue with that. Suppress labor rates. I'm going to cut to it. I don't want to read this whole thing. The expansion of illegal or underground labor. That happens. Yep. Because we can't afford, when we're forced to work for 50 cents on the dollar or 40 cents on the dollar, or 25 cents on a dollar, State Farm, we can't afford regular workers and regular wages. We can't. So our choice is walk away from the industry totally, or find a way to do it so we can still be profitable, right? And the people are choosing both. People are choosing, there are people that just walk away from restoration because it is so hard to make money and so easy to lose your ass. The yo-yo effect of claim assignments. The industry is characterized by long periods of low claim volume followed by a brief surges of extreme demand. This inconsistency, often driven by weather-related disasters, creates operational chaos. Companies are either scrambling to cover too much work with too few resources or facing financial difficulties during lean times. It leads to short-term decision-making and undermines long-term sustainability. Program TPA work, rise of consultants. Let's skip to the path forward. Reassess labor rates. That we do have control, right? At the end of the day, we as restorers, we can't just be like, woe is me, and pointing fingers, and that's the problem, and this is the problem. We need to come with real solutions, right? Otherwise, if pointing out something and we're not coming with a solution, it's called complaining, right? I'm not a big fan of complaining. I want to solve this shit. I want to fix this shit. All right. Reassess the labor rates. Reject the race to the bottom. Contractors must resist the temptation to compete on price alone. By focusing on quality, transparency, and customer services, businesses can differentiate themselves and build long-term success. Let me see who's... Oh, there's Kevin. Oh, he's in the truck. You sure you want to come in? You sure? Be positive? What's up, Dooley?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. You didn't make it back yet.
I'm a couple minutes from home, but I thought I'd jump in case you're wrapping up soon.
I'm just reading my rewording of your two posts from LinkedIn this week because I thought they were pretty freaking awesome.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
So the synergistic decline and the fragility issues. Those two posts. We need to reform the role of cost consultants. We need to increase. This is what I like. Number 3, increase industry collaboration. I think, Kevin, this is what you've been doing a great job of lately, and I think more people can emulate the direction you're going professionally. Stakeholders across the industry, including contractors, insurers, TPAs, and regulatory bodies, need to come together to develop more standardized practices and measurement tools, such as objectives and key results. Objectives and key results, OKRs. I've never heard of that. I'm thinking KPIs, but okay. Is that Canadian for KPI?
A little bit different.
A more professional, data-driven approach will help to raise the bar for quality and accountability. So I'm going to stop there. Kevin, what was behind these two articles? What was your push? What were you trying to get at, or what was eating at your heart when you wrote these things?
I'm just musing, to be honest with you, and thinking about some of the challenges that the industry is facing right now. And I don't know. I'm kind of a first principles thinker, at least I try to be as much as possible, and get down to what are the actual root challenges, problems we're facing as an industry, and really just trying to articulate ideas and see what kind of conversations stem from them through the posts that I'm sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, create dialogue, see what happens from that, and then engage the community as I continue to run the companies that I'm engaged in that'll hopefully start to move the needle for all stakeholders, frankly, for the better. So, I don't know, just some of it's market research, market analysis, just having chats, being relevant. That's it.
What is what does collaboration look like from the carrier side to the contractor side?
What does it look like, or what can it look like? Because those are two different things.
Let's say what can it look like? Because I think we all know what it looks like now. It doesn't look like much. There's no cross communication or coordination. It's a pissing contest at best, oftentimes. So what could it look like?
Well, my sphere is more centered around mitigation. That's I don't really do
Sure.
much of the recon, but I think it kind of parlays regardless. I think I'm obviously, as many people know, or at least the ones that have engaged with me online and or met me in person. I'm a tech forward restorer, I guess is the best way to say it, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
So usually my opinions or views kind of center around technology in that regard. And so I don't know. I'm a firm believer that I think technology ultimately will be the enabler that um, can start to drive. Like I've been using three words lately: uh, predictability, transparency, and the ability to drive consistent outcomes.
Mm.
And I know those are kind of just lofty, catchphrasey type words, but the essence of it is what can technology and just processes around it enable those three items.
Hmm.
And so, long-winded story, try to cut it short. Um, I think you know the convergence of several different technology stacks, being augmented reality. So as we know it today, anyways,
Hmm.
geospatial scanning via vis-a-vis Matterport or DocuSketch or services like lidar on the camera on the iPhone, that is, and then the convergence of mobile, cloud, IoT, all coming together, either through integration or a single product that will help assess a claim. My kids are just gonna get out of the truck here, guys. I'll meet you
Sure,
inside
sure.
once. Okay. I'm gonna I'm
See you,
gonna follow.
boys.
I'm gonna follow you inside and return the call. Um, what I think and I believe what'll happen is it'll start with initial inspection, um, and leveraging those different technologies will help the inspector, ideally a well qualified and trained restoration professional,
Mm.
to compile data in a transparent way, um, that for the bulk of the inspection process, as one would inspect a loss, will start to drive a lot of the workflows that otherwise can be questioned as it is today.
Well, I think we have a tendency. The current state,
Yeah.
current state is everyone gets their own data and everyone holds it close to their vest, right?
Yeah.
Future state, well, most for the most part, in my experience, like I was on an appraisal. No, it was litigated file. It was litigation. They were already suing. There was a lawsuit, and the inspection with the carrier's consultant. Carrier got a Young and Associates guy out there, a guy I know. But I had done a Matterport scan of the loss 2 years ago, and that was closer to obviously the date of loss 2 years ago. So he brings his Matterport camera out last month and does another scan, and it was like my scan wasn't good enough, or my data couldn't be trusted, so they had to go collect their own data. So I
Two
think a
years
future
later.
2 years later, yeah, this is going to lawsuit. It's
Okay.
it's what are they going to see? What difference are they going to see 2 years later from they're doing their own Matterport scan? I think it was a waste of time and energy and expense.
Yeah.
But I think a future state is somebody, like you just said, a qualified individual, qualified IEP or an inspector or somebody. They are the they are the data collector. They collect the data, and that becomes the data set instead of multiple parties having multiple data sets. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if it'll have to be an IEP. My hope and desire is that it's actually going to be a mitigation technician, because my other
Right.
burning hair on fire um, goal, mission, if you will, for lack of choice of words, is to actually get a mitigation technician, um, more as a career wage, where
Hmm.
where the MIT
For real.
where a MIT tech can actually save to buy a home and save for retirement and vacation and have a decent car and have a life that they can thrive in. Sorry, I'm just walking in my house. My kids are getting ready to obnoxious. Perhaps it's late, but I gotta get into bed. But we'll keep chatting for a few
Hey,
minutes.
man, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
But yeah,
Good to
no,
see you.
yeah, likewise. But no, I would. I'm hoping that with the change, it'll also give the people on the ground an opportunity to actually have a high quality life.
Yeah, I think, and we once we connected back in I think 2016 or 17, we were on the same page as far as that goes. I
Yep.
think mitigation water damage technician should be a six-figure wage. Should be a something like you just said. They need to be able to, if you can't buy a house, if you can't own a house on your wage, it's not a career. It's just a water tech is a stopping point on the way to something else. You're going to always be going to getting a different job because water techs are capped out for the most part. Guys are like $55,000 a year. That's a lot of money for a water tech. And I'm like, dude, double it, double it.
Well, I'm
So
like in many major markets. I would suspect in the U.S. I've done some deep analysis in Canada, but I would suspect many major markets in the U.S. are similar. Like you look at the cost of living now with inflation and everything that it is with it, what it is now. You look at standard out of the box Exactimate rates. Let's just use that as a benchmark for this conversation, anyways. One quick second, babe. Just give me 2 minutes. You look at those rates. Take out the SG&A costs that it takes to run an actual restoration company, so just straight overhead.
mm, mm,
Then you look at what's left. Factor in the burden for the employee, so remittances to the government, workers' comp, cell phone, just to get them out the door before they do anything. All the burden,
mhm,
labor,
mhm,
associated burden costs to each hour that they produce. Take that off. Depends on the company, obviously, because it depends how much they invest in their people and if they outfit them with uniforms and whatnot. But you're somewhere to the tune of 35 to 50%, probably for most companies. And then
mm,
whatever that dollar value is left from there, give 100% of the technician. So in fact, the restoration company makes no money; they break even. They're just covering the overheads
mhm,
and the costs associated to the hours being burned. Two
mhm,
minutes, and then so the technician gets the rest. Take the associated payroll taxes off. That's their net income. They're still living in poverty.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
Fugazi. That's
Yeah,
Fugazi.
they're below the poverty line. It's
Yeah, they can't thrive. So, and that's based on what I was saying earlier. So,
yeah.
restoration company makes no money, and the technician's living in poverty. That's upside down in my brain.
It's not a recipe for a successful, thriving, and growing industry.
No, so it's a whole other topic. It's actually something that I'm probably going to speak to at the Rebuild conference in October.
Nice. Okay.
That's going to be the center of my thesis of the talk. We'll say.
God, I hope
Um,
I can make it there. Hope I can make it there. So, you're on a time schedule, time crunch. So let's talk about what you're giving away here from Kahi. Talk about that grill for me. Where's the smoker?
Yeah, we're doing a promo at Kahi. So for those that don't know who Kahi is, we automate the tracking of your assets, primarily your rental equipment that you deploy in your mitigation projects, in addition to providing fleet telematics. So tracking your trucks through GPS, driver analytics, all the stuff that you would expect from a vehicle tracking system as well. So it's a fully automated asset tracking and fleet solution. That's what Kahi is. And we have a promo going until we actually extended it. So we said September 15th. We've actually extended a few weeks to
Oh,
get a few more people into the
okay.
promo. But we're giving away a
Oh,
rec tech.
I thought it was. Oh, I thought it was going through next month. I'm sorry. I messed
It is
up.
going, it's we originally were doing September 15th, but we got a little late to the dance and getting some of our
Okay.
content out. So we're going to extend it a few extra weeks just to get some more people into the promo. But
Okay.
no, we're doing a RecTech smoker grill. I actually own that particular one. It's awesome. I have a meter up on this on the image, but we're actually I came across the new ThermoWorks ThermoPen Bluetooth device. So we're going to do that instead because the reviews are actually better. So
Nice.
I want to up the quality on that. Throw in some pellets, throw in some spices, and if you book a demo with us, you enter for a chance to win. You get one
You can
ballot
win.
entry in. If you
Yep.
actually purchase with us, you'll get an additional 4, so 5 total. And then if you refer somebody that might benefit from using Kahi and they book a demo and you refer us, the person who referred us can also enter to win as well.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And there's the website right there, kahi.io/tailgate to book your introduction, discovery call. Get it done. Yeah. Get in there. I would want this grill. I would want to buy this grill. My folks need it.
Dude, I take this down on Storm. I grill for my guys. You can fit. It'll be cozy for the shoulders, but you can get 3 pork shoulders in there. So
Woo.
it's a nice little
Can't
smoker.
wait. I can't wait. Next big one. When's the next big one gonna get hit? We got a kind of a no-show season this year. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. There's still life left in the year, but I don't know. It's not looking too optimistic if you're a storm chaser.
No. Weird. It's looking really weird.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to have Mr. Philip Roseberg on tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Rebuild Conference.
Yeah, we were chatting earlier today.
Nice. Well,
it's this little man's birthday today. He turned 9 today.
Happy birthday, 9 years old. I'm surprised you weren't driving home. What were you doing letting your old man drive? It's your turn.
But I gotta get this little man to bed and the other 2 organized as well.
Hi, good to see you, brother.
You too, pal. See ya.
Nice. I always like having that guy on. That's the softest spoken man. Like I can't talk to him on a trade show floor because he talks too quiet. I can't hear a word he's saying. You got to put a microphone in front of him. So what are your thoughts there, Mr. Joseph? I think we covered a lot of ground here. What's your thought on the fragility of or the what's that word? Synergistic decline. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think our industry is I really do feel like it is starting to boil over to a point that literally the next 5-10 years in this industry is going to be very scary and for a lot of companies. Scary. I mean, it's one of those things where everybody, I do feel like the restoration specialties side of the company or the industry, it's very bloated for all marketplaces because every GC thinks they can do the water mitigation work, and they're spreading it out so the work is spread out so thin, and it's so dog eat dog that the only people that are benefiting from it are the carriers because they can get everybody wants to sign up for like a TPA now and stuff because they have work coming in, and it lessens everybody's ability. And it's true. I mean,
race to the bottom.
When I started up, 20 years ago when I started this industry, I was starting off at $15 an hour or $12 an hour. Nowadays people start off at like $15 an hour. My cap was always $20 an hour. Now it's only like $24 an hour the most for most water technicians. That's it. Like in 20 years we get, we're getting nothing, but the costs are just rising and rising to run the departments, to run everything. And it's one of those things where we've done it to ourselves a bit because, like I said, everybody wants to get into it because they see how much money we were making at one point in time. And now it's literally scraps. I mean, you're just getting scraps. And and what sucks the most is that, like, to me, what sucks the most is it's very doable to have water techs and keep them around. When I worked at Roto-Rooter, I systematically had guys that were making $100,000 a year on a percentage-based pay scale. But those guys, but their life to work ratio, quality of life was just not there. They were
They're
to
working
work.
all the time.
Yeah, and they're the when. And it's not like the boss is ever making, it's not like the bosses are making out with the millions of dollars either. Like I've not known, there's very few restoration companies I've ever met that the company itself doesn't pretty much live hand or paycheck to paycheck just as much as all the employees does.
Owners are struggling. Owners are really struggling right now. It is incredibly hard. Patrick makes a great point. Does the effort of a response technician who works to minimize damage to finishes and structure have less relative end value to a claim response than to which a rebuild tradesperson provides? No. I argue, and I have argued for quite some time, that the technician is the most important person in a restoration company. They have the most effect on the end result and the end product because they stand to affect it at the beginning. They get involved first. The things that happen on day 1, 2, and 3 affect the claim all the way out to 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years later. Everything starts with the water damage technician. And we just don't have a healthy respect. We should honor that position. We should hold that position up in higher regard and treat it like it is. It is the number one triage. You're going to save more money by being proactive early on than it's the return. There's a reason there's an entire industry in mitigation, because we understand that if we can dry it and save it instead of tearing it out, it's usually going to be cheaper than replacing it. But we've been beat up so bad on the mitigation, emergency services side of the equation, that some folks are just saying, screw it, we're going to tear everything out because at least I know I get my 10 and 10 on the putback. So the more I tear out, the more money I make. We have disincentivized doing good actual mitigation work by way of beating these guys up and these 50 cents and 25 cents on a dollar offers on mitigation invoices, and a third party's coming in and just hacking these guys up. Why would someone do a good job?
Well, there's multiple factors. When a homeowner sustains a damage, it's, they aren't usually expecting to get stuff saved and dried out. There is an expectation for a lot of homeowners. They think that, oh, my house is flooded, they're going to have to replace all this stuff now. And
replace it all. Yeah, replace it all.
And so, you have to play that balancing act, but it's, there's so much competition. A lot of people, the only way they can, there's so much competition that for most metropolis departments and stuff, like, the whole old school methodology of working hand in hand with plumbers is just not there, because the plumbers want $1,000 a lead or so. And if you're only doing a small job,
$1,500 a lead,
you can't do that. And, how else do you get work in? Well, the only other way for a lot of people is the TPA. So now they're doing the TPA work, so they minimize their cost on a sales guy. But to get the TPA work in the door, they have to agree to do for, like Code Blue,
they have to do it at cost.
Well, yeah, you do it 10, 15% below Xactimate pricing. And then, you're working these guys. Most people are still operating on an hourly basis model where there's no incentive for the guys to go the extra mile, because they're already tired as hell. It's why bring in one more piece of equipment? That's not going to affect them. They're just going to have to work a little bit longer, and
they got yelled at last time because they used too much equipment or whatever it was. We've put these technicians in a really hard spot, and it's an unwinnable situation for a lot of these guys. And then the owners, man.
And what sucks the most is, it is. It's an epidemic of turnaround, because the technicians, the field staff, the people that are your eyes and ears, the ones that do all your work and everything and represent your company, outnumbers the management side, 6-1, I would say, for most companies.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
most water techs, they get burnt out. They don't see a future of ever getting to move up the ladder because there's only so many manager positions. And so they bounce out of the industry. Why make $15-18 an hour doing this here for you when I could go work at a warehouse where, for Amazon, make the same money and I don't get
Same
called
money.
in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
And
I can make
it's
$22 an hour being a manager at McDonald's. Why would I work so hard for you doing this really hard work for less?
And for most people who know me personally, they know that like when I write a file, like I write a file as absolutely honest and as with as much integrity as I can put into the file. I don't believe in the concept of putting stuff in just for the adjuster to have something to write off of it,
But it's
and
so tempting. It's so tempting. There's so many people that's part of their SOP. Their SOP is I'm going to put in some softball gimmies that I know I'm not going to do anyway, just so the adjuster can take something off my bill.
Mhm.
And that leads back to that. It's just a negative feedback loop back to the synergistic decline. That doesn't do us any good in the long term. It's a
It
short-term
doesn't, but
solution.
there is an accountability level on the restoration side as well. I mean, me and you know probably better than anybody. One of the biggest reasons why most companies are not making numbers they're supposed to be making is because they're not documenting, they're not recording their information properly. And
Mhm.
I know for a fact, like for the past 3 years, well, I wouldn't say 3 years, I'll say 2 years. The past 2 years, I average between $11,000 and $12,000 a water mitigation claim. My
Mm.
write-off between initial submission and getting to the check paid, I average less than 12% of a reduction.
Mm.
But I mean,
But
there's
you're starting out 25 and 30% higher than your average bear.
yeah. So which is, but I mean, working for SFY right now and everything, like I see so many clients that are companies that are sending us pay work that is just, I'm like, this is completely hot garbage. And, no wonder you're coming in on only $6,000 and they're trying to take 25% off your bill and give you $5,100. Like, you're not doing what you should be doing. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of it is everybody is just, I mean, they're so burnt out getting screwed over and bent over the barrel that they just, become complacent. They just give up and they just take what they can get and they just try to move on to the next job. And, so we have that problem on that side of the fence. The other side of the fence is even when you are trying to be a premier high quality contractor, or if you're trying to be a premier high quality estimator for the company, it is, damn good because the carriers, hey, we're going to have you guys, we use Xactimate to write our prices. Okay. Well, I'm using the same program and I'm using it the way the program was designed to be used. I'm adjusting supporting events and, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And these adjusters
dude.
have never been trained to do that.
So I did that. I used your calculator and I did that on a couple claims and it just freaking worked. It was like freaking magic, Joe. It was
Dude,
amazing.
when you're using a program that is itemized, the less labor hours you can put on that file, the better off you are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really,
I mean,
one of my
how else do you account for a job that's an hour and a half one way, right? But you only have 60 minutes allotted in your labor yield. Change the labor yield. Don't add hours. Don't add fuel surcharges. Just change the yield.
Well, that's the thing. It was like back when fuel spiked up, $5 a gallon almost and stuff. People were like putting, and people are putting fuel surcharge of $100. Dude, you get 18
You didn't
miles
quantify
a
that.
gallon. Like you can physically quantify it, and you should be adding like $4 or $5 fuel surcharge. That's why everyone fights you on it. One of my favorite tricks I've been doing lately. You're gonna love this one here. and I'm actually getting good success out of it. I'm adding labor. So the WTR PPE line item
Okay.
is material only. So
okay.
So if you look up WTR PPE, it's suits, duct tape, gloves, and an N95 mask.
Okay.
And it's like $13 in most divisions.
But it doesn't accommodate for dawn and doff time.
So I've been going in, and I will, within the actual line item, add in the labor to that line item, and I usually do 15 minutes, 7 minutes to dawn, 7 minutes to doff, and everything. And I'll add 15 minutes worth of labor time per count that I'm charging for. And I'm getting it paid by State Farm and everybody else because, I'm being transparent with showing them how we do it and everything. But,
but you're also not putting in an additional standalone labor item that they've been beat over the head that they absolutely don't pay for.
Well, and I mean, it's just like, the amount of people out there that, they're by default, their SOP is, we charge, whatever the labor, whatever the total labor is, we charge 15% of that for our job site supervision time. Well,
that's steep.
If I divide it by 8 and then I divide it by how many guys it is. And, I usually do an hour per day for checking in. And then I add a 20% overage on it to account for anything off-site, like taking clients to the store, office work and stuff like that there, and I'm not charging 120 hours. I might only be charging, 15 hours, but I can get that validated and paid for very easily.
Yeah. And that's, what you're doing and what we're talking about is just increasing incremental increases in your per sheet profitability. Right. That's just one of the things that we can do as restoration owners and managers to, how can you make more money? Well, one is spend less. Okay. Your overhead is usually fixed. One is to make more per job. And that's, one of the ways to make more per job, make your build in your profitability, but build it in a way that's not going to set off all these alarm bells when it tries to go through the adjuster and the adjuster's manager and his manager and everything else.
Well, and I mean, I've never, me, I've never been the person that says to just globally factor your price list up. I don't believe in that just because there's no rhyme or reason to it. But, it's one of those things where if you're listening here, that's what I'm going to tell you, and you want to do that stuff, don't apply it to your rental rates because your rental rates, you don't have, you can justify a higher labor rate. You can justify material increase. But when your dehumidifier, extra large dehumidifier, you have to run it for 4 days on 7 jobs, and then you've paid it off. You've made your investment back in full, and you're going to run it for another 4 or 5 years. There's no reason to charge 20% more or 15% more, or whatever it is, on your equipment. But you might need to increase it on your labor line items and stuff. So, be more aware.
I've come around when you took the pricing class, right? You're a Veris pricing consultant now. We're consultants. Veris told me I was. So there. So coming off of that class and knowing what I know and using my experience, very seldom do I touch that labor. When I'm factoring, I'll still do a factored price list, but I'm hitting the material because I know that's pretty close to cost. So I'm hitting the material to bake in a decent margin, a decent markup, and I'm hitting the equipment a little bit, but I'm not hitting it very hard. 5 to 10. 5 to 10.
I showed you my trick that I've been doing for my material markup, haven't I?
Your material markup?
Yeah.
No.
Andy.
Show me.
All right, let's see here.
But then on the labor side, I might put in a token 1% or 2%, but I'm not. Most of those line items have already to reach the retail rate. They've already got 100% markup in them, and the roofing has a 300% markup on the labor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Also, is I feel like what sucks is, most in the most what word am I looking for here? Most coverage zones, I'll say,
Rebel.
Xactimate. Most of the pricing in Xactimate right now, on average, you're already, because of that labor burden, you're already starting off at a 40% markup on your hourly rate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's and that's one of my biggest gripes about Xactimate is the fact that Matt, you're gonna laugh when I says I don't like the fact that we even have that labor burden built into the program, because nobody is using it the proper way for their and it's hurting the entire industry.
Well, people don't understand it because they don't. For the most, I don't want to paint too broad a brush. A lot of guys don't know their own numbers. They don't understand what a burden is.
Well,
Right?
that's
That's part of the problem.
I'll show you my trick that I've been doing, and then I'll show you, and then I'll talk about what I was saying there. So Windows, Xactimate. Here we go. So okay, so like this is an old fire job. I don't even and everything on it. Now, first off, as far as the labor burn goes, my big problem with it has always been, if I could get this to load up, it would make my life happy. I love how my computer works always until I need to show people stuff. Hang on. First off, if any of you guys have that dang little inspection bar popping up all the time, I feel your pain. I hate it. I hate the fact that it pops up open on every job now.
The inspection job. What is that? The Pro? Is that the plug-in?
No, this isn't.
I'm not seeing anything.
Oh,
I'm not seeing it.
Well, that's because
you're not sharing your screen. You're just sharing a window. Share the whole screen.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was doing. Entire screen. Here we go. So every time you open up Xactimate now, the inspection bar pops up, and it's annoying as hell. But here's the thing: is like, for example, on this file here, let's just take, this. The thing is, this here is like this price here. Well, let's see. Let me pull up the whole thing, the whole number here. So, like in Xactimate right now, when you're doing drywall work here, this number here of $8,917 that Xactimate's giving you, that's before that doesn't count your overhead profit. That's how much Xactimate is expecting the subcontractor to bill me, the general contractor, for.
No, the RCV is O&P unless you have 10 and 10 turned, unless you have O&P turned off.
Right.
The RCV is so. Yeah, the ACV is the subcontractor costs.
So I mean, and just so everybody, if they understand this here, how much the worker gets paid is your wage, how much you pay in taxes, and this overhead number here. So on this file here, $35 of it, that's supposed to be the subcontractor that you're hiring, his overhead, which means that he's going to charge me $73.49 an hour on an hourly rate. So then I do my global overhead and profit and I mark it up. So when you're looking at an itemized line item like this here, drywall with all the 3,900 square feet of drywall being done, $8,500, that is what I should be having to pay out for labor and materials. And my 20% markup is giving me that extra, that little, or the RCV number there. And what we're, and just make sure I'm not misquoting myself there. No, the RCV, this here doesn't show the overhead profit when you're in the window here. So I should have to be, if I was a general contractor, Xactimate is saying I should be forecasting to pay my subcontractor $8,900. If I want to make, if I'm only doing a 10 and 10 on my global overhead and profit,
you're losing money.
Then I'm making $20. So but since the carriers won't give you more than 10 and 10, what ends up happening is, this
we have to get it done for less than $8,900.
We want to make a 30 or 40% profit, so we're going to take another 20% off that number there. So I'm not going to I'm going to look for a sub that's going to do this entire job. If you buy the material sub and just do the job whole, the most I'm going to give you is $7,100. So now, not only did I have to take, so now I'm lessening the value of this drywaller guy's work. He should be getting paid more because I can't get paid what I need to properly run my business as a general contractor because the carrier won't do it. And, and that's all, but that's also why, when you're doing a water job, for anybody that doesn't know this, that's why they don't want to give you overhead and profit. This claim here, just so everybody's aware, this is from June of 2023. You know what? I'll update it to this month here, just so that way there we have a more accurate representation of the industry. So let's see here.
You killed it.
Oh no, it's loading. It's a big file. So come on. There we go. Okay. So I'll bump it up here to the current month here. Request price list now. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So come on. You can do it, little Betty. You can do it.
You can do it.
Okay, there we go. Now it's going to be done in about 2 seconds. Come on.
So, are you guys using the actionable profile?
I mean, I still do. Over at SFY, they don't have it.
Okay.
I still have it personally. I love the program. I think it's a great little tool. But, so here's the thing is like, this is Muncie, Indiana, which is just north of Indianapolis. It's the next market above us. Xactimate is saying that regardless of what WTR line items you're basing it off of, if you were to take those itemized line items and change to labor material, the labor rate is $57.90 an hour. Means that I don't pay anybody more than $24 an hour. I don't pay more than $10.86 in burden. And by default, I'm making $22.69 markup. So $22.69 means that $22.69 over $57.90 is a 39%. So by just using only line items on Xactimate, I'm already making 39% on my labor.
Gross profit.
Yeah, on my labor. Now, if I was subbing it out, Xactimate's opinion is whoever I'm subbing out to would be charging me $57.90 an hour because that sub's going to keep the $22.69. So now I got to do the global overhead and profit on there.
Yeah, I don't think there's a temp agency in the world that'll give you a labor for less than 75.
Yep. But and I mean that's why when people are like, I can't find good quality subs anymore. Well, yeah, because when you're doing this work here and all, and you're telling the drywaller that you only have $7,100, and he knows, dude, I need at least 78. And you're not willing to do it because you don't want to make those numbers happen. That's a problem. The other problem is, Xactimate is based on MSRP value. So, if you go into your room here and you look up
the overall suppression of rates is a problem.
But when you're looking at the component list here, there's
strangling the industry.
There's a markup for like waste factors, which you can always see in your supporting events on, how much waste. So you can see here where, if you're doing, let me bring this over here.
I hate how Xactimate has that whole thing out every single time.
It's a pain in the ass. So
it's about,
you can see here that,
15 seconds of wasted time every day.
Your insulation. Regardless of what the line item reads, the component is going to add in an extra 5% for your waste. So even though you might be at, you might say you're replacing 15 squares of drywall on the line item itself, when you look at the material, it's going to be 115%, 150, or instead of 100 square feet of drywall on the line item, your component's going to show 115 square feet of drywall being bought. So there's a markup in that sense that you're accounting for waste, but there's not a markup saying that, oh, I got to go buy these materials. So instead of it being, if it's $1.25, that's what component, it's $1.25 on the component side. There's no markup.
Mm-hmm.
So what I figured out to do is this here. It's amazing what I did. I feel like it's amazing.
I would argue that, especially with drywall, 15%. Is it 15 or is it 10? Either way,
it's
your waste needs to be closer to 25.
Well, that's why you can change the support an event. But watch this here, Andy.
Yeah,
go to your parameters.
Sales tax. Parameters. Sales tax.
Sales tax. I'm going to add, and I'm going to call this material markup. What's your material markup, Andy, for your company?
35%.
35%. My base.
Yeah, you showed me that a couple months ago. Yeah.
My base calculation is on the material, and I need to increase it by 35%. And is it OMP or tax?
Tax on OMP. Yeah. Tax on OMP.
And then just for shits and giggles, I'm going to move this to the top of my list here. And now when I do my document and when I print this off.
Yeah. I mean, you either show it there,
but when you do it,
or you bake it in.
Well, when you do it this way here, no matter what, if you go back and have to readjust this estimate ever in any way, shape, or form, you don't have to remember to go back because 20. Oh, I typed in 20 instead of 30. Did I type that in wrong?
105,000.
Hang on. Hang on.
So
I typed in 35%, 35 there. So why is it coming? Something's.
How much material do you have on it? How big is this job? 360.
Material markup. I don't know why it's only saying 20%. Oh, here we go. Why? Because I have this separated out between the dwelling coverage is the black stuff that's across the whole board. This is how much it is for the demo, for the odor clean. So
okay, you got it broken out for coverages. All right.
Here, I'll make this real simple. Hang on. Give me 5 seconds here.
Just global change to one coverage. Yeah.
Global change coverages. See, I like doing it like this here because then I can show when I write my files up. Here's how much I have for the demo, the cleaning, the reconstruction, and then usually the only thing in the main dwelling coverage is going to be the taxes, the fees, the porta potties, the dumpster stuff that's going to be used across the board.
Your machine is running slow. What do you got under the hood there?
I mean, it's my gaming PC. It's just, like I said, I just redid it, and I probably haven't updated all my drivers yet or nothing. But doing that.
You must not have an AMD Ryzen 12 core.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have 12 cores. That's for dang sure.
God, I have never regretted buying the machine that I bought.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Hang on. It is. It actually seems like it is running super slow, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it just feels slow. Yeah. You got something else going on. It's probably StreamYard.
It's probably because I have other software download running in the background that I need to turn off anyway.
Jeremy. All right. Well, nothing like getting in under the wire. Mr. Van de Linder joins the show. We got about 5 minutes before I'm going to kick everybody out.
There we go. All right, here we go. All right, we're done. Okay, so and just so we can do the math here, guys, you can see here on the component list. Oh, that's why, because I'm over coverage limits. Probably was why it's doing this here. But I can see here in the component list that I have. Let's see here. How much do I have? I have $111,895 in material costs estimated for this job. So 111,892.47 multiplied by 35% is what we said. So we need to add in $39,150 for our markup.
In material markup.
And
yeah, I'm a huge fan of accommodating for material markup. But then you're getting in the argument of, well, that's what O&P is for. How are you addressing that?
I mean, my overhead is to run my business regardless of biomaterials. My profitability is based on per job basis. Neither of those coverages factor in the fact that I need to mark up how much I'm buying my material for. Oh, I know why this is. So this is the old way of doing it, where I said 20% there. I know why it's doing that now. Because the old way I used to do it was I would go in here and do additional charges, and I would put in I would manually do it. That's why it was doing that there. So now with doing the sales tax way, it'll
That
show
should be
up.
cleaner. That should be cleaner.
Now when I look,
everyone's jumping in now. We got Moberly.
So you can see here. Here's my material markup.
Hey, McCabe. Hey, Joe.
469.
And it's factoring. It's only basing the 35% on that component list there. So if I add stuff, if I delete stuff, this is going to automatically alter.
Okay.
And if and you can even do that, just so everybody's aware that's watching. If you're doing a construction job, say for a commercial property, and let's say they want you to come in after hours. Okay, well, there's no after hours rates for any of the work in the except for water work. So to hang the drywall and paint it. So I'm going to do, after hours premium. I'm going to bake my base rate is going to be only on my labor, and I want to charge 50% on the labor. And I'm going to move this to the top here and hit OK. And now this entire file.
So get you your 1.5 on overtime. Okay.
Gives you 1 point.
That's a quick and easy way to do that.
After hours premium right there. Boom. And now once I have that set, I can go in and alter and revise the file, and I don't have to worry about messing with it again because it's automatic.
I like it.
Yeah. And then what I was telling you about the PPE, Andy, just so I'll show you real quick here. What I've been doing is WTR PPE. It's $11.64, and you can see here that it's coveralls, gloves, dust filters, and N95 masks. Add
no
labor, CLNR. This is a water tech job, so WTR. And we know that this is per count, and the component price is on an hourly basis. So how many times can you do it in an hour? Well, 15 minutes is 4 times an hour. So I hit add there, and then I'll just do a quick little screen grab like that. And then I'll just put in my, and then now it's $30 a count. And I'll just, do my little image here, paste it here and say, 15 minutes labor added to account for donning and doffing. And, and now.
And you have it right there in the F9 note.
And and I'm done.
Okay.
I mean,
nice.
It works out pretty nice. And I mean, I get it paid. I get it paid left and right for stuff. I mean,
okay,
because it's valid. Like you're showing, I'm being transparent on the
and you can explain it in a good way. So, all right, Joe, Mr. Moberly.
I do like the fact that you are using my support and event calculator. That thing's not.
Dude, I built it. So I've got an Excel file that has all the spreadsheets in it. It's called the claim. What am I calling it? Total claim file. Anyway, that is now a tab on my full claim file, and as is the supervision calculator, as is the collections matrix for figuring late fees on outstandings. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked with. I'll send you a copy, Joe, just so you can see what I'm playing with. So let's give Moberly the last word here, since you've been gone so long. And Mr. Jeremy, you can pipe up if you feel like it.
Jeremy was in before I was. I just wanted to say hey quick. Sometimes you just have to become a phoenix and burn away and reemerge when you freaking feel like it.
What are you burning in effigy on that photo right there?
That is me in front of my garden berm on the edge of the green space in the neighborhood, and I'm burning this oriental grass so that the seeds don't like grow over into freaking everything. It was kind of like the beginning of spring burning, you know. It's a family tradition.
Nice. Nice. Well,
Um,
yeah, good to see you, man. Good to hear from you. Hope you
I just figured I'd poke my head in. Yeah,
We're here. We started an hour ago, but we're here now.
I know. I was listening a little bit, but I had to go to the pharmacy, and I had my 3-year-old with me. So, you know, she's quite the talker. So I might have to get
Yeah.
her in on one of the
Get
shows.
her on the
Really.
show. She can lead the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
She can do it. All right. So tomorrow, everyone, I'm going to have Mr. Philip Roseberg at noon Pacific time. No, 12:30. 12:30 Pacific. We're going to talk about the Rebuild Conference coming up in October in San Antonio. And then next week, we're going to go back-to-back Rebel roundtables because we're going to do a roundtable next Thursday. And we're going to have Mr. Tom McGuire on to talk about the E3 system and large loss mastery. Yeah. Joe, have you been to large loss mastery? Either Joe?
I have not, but I am familiar with what they go over.
It's awesome. So he's got a if he's got a Rebel discount that I guess I can tease it out. We're gonna give 20% off the large loss mastery. There's a December course in Cape Canaveral,
Oh wow.
and then there's a November marketing commercial marketing course in I forget where that's at, but we've got 20% off for all the Rebels to get in there. He's coming up on his 1,000th. That's a hard word to say. 1,000th a class student, and so the 1,000th person that gets signed up to go to large loss mastery gets a cruise for 2 going
Wow.
somewhere. So that's what we're going to talk about Thursday. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here, and you guys be good. This was awesome, and we'll see you next week. We'll see some of you tomorrow.
Are we doing it every week now? The
We,
roundtable.
we're, for this week and next week, yes, and we'll see how next week goes, and we'll make the call.
All right.
All right. See you,
We
boys.
should share some content. We should share some
Okay.
content. I want to talk victories, but I won't. I'll be quiet
let's
now.
do-
I wanted to say hello. I missed you
Hey, man.
guys.
Yeah. Well, show up. We'll see you.